This fanfiction story is an original work created and scripted entirely from my own imagination. It is made solely for entertainment purposes and is not intended to harm or disrespect any idols mentioned.
I was back again with the same guy I absolutely dreaded handling as my guest. Sighing, I grabbed my notes and headed towards the meeting room the moment an intern informed me of his arrival. I took a deep breath before opening the door, stepping inside with a carefully forced smile. 안녕하세요. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Nothing but a smug smirk flashed across his face as his eyes locked right onto mine. Jaehyun, shifting to sit up straight, looking intrigued. No. Journalist Choi, there's absolutely no need to apologize. We actually arrived 10 minutes early. I took my seat across from him and flipped open my notebook, preparing to start the interview. Manager Kim, you just need to frame the article so it appears as though you gathered this information from a third-party source rather than from him directly. Highlight his generosity. Focus on how kind and warm-hearted he is for secretly donating such a massive sum to the orphanage. YN. Understood. Is there any other crucial information I should include, or anything else I need to be careful about? Jaehyun. Nah. I trust you more than anyone else in this world, so just do your thing. Be yourself, and show the world just how kind I can be. I couldn't help but roll my eyes at his words. It didn't go unnoticed, and his grin only widened. Just then, his manager stepped out to answer a phone call. The moment the door clicked shut behind him, Jaehyun let out a low, amused chuckle. Jaehyun, did you miss this handsome face? Just say the word and I'll start dropping by regularly for different articles. YN, you really never change. As always, you're entirely full of yourself. He leaned forward, resting his chin in his hand, his dark eyes sparkling with mischief. With the manager gone, the polite boundary of a formal interview felt incredibly thin. Jaehyun, being full of myself is just a side effect of being honest. Don't tell me you'd prefer me to be boring. YN, tapping my pen against my notebook, giving him a flat look. I would prefer you to be cooperative. Now, let's get to the real point before Manager Kim returns. What mess did you cause this time? What kind of chaos are you trying to cover up with this secret donation? He raised an eyebrow, a knowing smile playing on his lips. YN, let's be real, Jaehyun. Every single time you decide to throw a kind act to the media, it's because I have to clean up some rumor or disaster you've left behind. I'm practically your personal image cleaner at this point. So, what is it? Jaehyun let out a soft, delighted chuckle, clearly enjoying how well I knew his patterns. He leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms comfortably. Jaehyun, you hurt my feelings, journalist Choi. Can't a guy just want to do some good in the world? YN, not when that guy is you. Spill it. Jaehyun, leaning in closer, his voice dropping to a playful whisper. Fine. Let's just say the media was getting a little too curious about my private life again. A heartwarming story about my secret, selfless generosity is the perfect distraction to change the headlines. And who better to write it than the only journalist I trust to make me look like an angel? My heart did a stupid, sudden flutter at his intense gaze, but I forced my face to remain entirely blank. I quickly scribbled a note in my book, just to avoid his eyes. YN, don't flatter yourself, I'm just doing my job so my chief doesn't fire me. Now, do you have the specific details of the donation, or should I just make up the numbers? Before I could write another word, his fingers gently tapped the edge of my notebook, drawing my attention right back to him. Jaehyun, you're writing so fast, YN. Are you actually taking notes, or are you just trying to avoid looking at me? I stiffened, keeping my eyes glued to the page, refusing to give him the satisfaction of seeing me flustered. YN, I am documenting the facts, Mr. Myung. A concept you seem entirely familiar with. Myung, grinning, completely unfazed, if you say so. Before he could tease me any further, the door clicked open. Manager Kim walked back into the room, tucking his phone into his suit pocket, completely breaking the sudden tension between us. I instantly sat up straighter, adjusting my glasses and pulling my professional mask right back into place. Manager Kim, sorry about that. The agency wanted a quick update. Journalist Choi, did Jaehyun give you all the details you need for the draft? YN, yes, Manager Kim, I have more than enough to structure the piece. I'll frame it exactly as requested, discreet, third-party positioning, focusing entirely on the philanthropic angle. I began gathering my materials, closing my notebook with a decisive snap. I stood up and bowed politely, keeping my gaze strictly on the manager. YN, I will send the first draft to your team for approval by tomorrow morning. Thank you for your time today. Manager Kim, perfect. We trust your pen, YN. Thank you. As I turned toward the door to make a swift exit, a familiar, smooth voice stopped me in my tracks. Jaehyun, make sure you write it beautifully, journalist Choi. After all, my reputation is entirely in your hands. I glanced back over my shoulder. He was still sitting there, watching me leave with that same lazy, captivating smile playing on his lips. I gave him one final, tight nod before stepping out into the hallway and letting the heavy door shut behind me. Leaning my back against the wall, I let out the breath I hadn't realized I was holding. My heart was thumping against my ribs. Handling the nation's top idol was exhausting enough, but handling Jaehyun Myung? That was a completely different kind of danger, with the fact that he was my ex in high school. I finally made it back to my apartment late that evening, completely drained. After kicking off my heels and throwing on an oversized t-shirt, I collapsed at my desk. My laptop screen stared back at me, the cursor blinking mockingly on a blank document. No matter how many times I started typing, my words kept coming out too sharp. It was hard to write a glowing article about the benevolent and warm-hearted Myung Jaehyun, when all I could think about was how much of a pain he was. Suddenly, the screen of my phone lit up, buzzing against the wooden desk. I picked it up, expecting a message from my editor. Instead, a very familiar name popped up on the lock screen, a name I had never managed to delete from my contacts, even after all these years. Jaehyun, are you still awake, journalist Choi? Or are you dreaming about my handsome face? My heart did a violent, involuntary skip. I stared at the screen, my thumbs hovering over the keyboard. YN, why are you texting me? And YTF do you still have my number? The reply came almost instantly, as if he had been staring at his phone, waiting for me to bite. Jaehyun, seems like you have mine saved too. I'm touched, YN. I just wanted to test your old number. And Eureka, it seems like you didn't change your number. I stared at the text, a sudden rush of heat rising to my face. The fact that he was still using his old line, and that I had actually kept mine all these years, felt like a silent confession of a past we both tried to pretend didn't exist. I stared at the blinking cursor on my laptop, then back at his text. My fingers trembled slightly as I typed out my reply, trying desperately to sound unaffected. YN, I didn't change it because updating my contact info with my bank, my company, and my family is a hassle. Why didn't you change yours? You're a national star. Isn't keeping an old number a security risk? I held my breath, watching the 3 dots appear, disappear, and then reappear. Jaehyun, my manager begged me to change it 3 years ago. But I didn't want to. I kept thinking, what if one day you decided to call? If I changed it, you'd never be able to reach me. My throat went dry. The cynical protective wall I had spent years building around my heart suddenly felt incredibly fragile. He wasn't teasing me anymore. The arrogant, untouchable idol mask had slipped, leaving behind the boy from high school who used to walk me home in the rain. YN, Jaehyun, we aren't in high school anymore. Things are different now. Jaehyun, I know. I'm a mess, and you're the one who has to clean up after me. But YN, writing that article, write it honestly. Don't just write what my manager told you to. Write about the me you actually know. I didn't reply. I couldn't. I locked my phone, set it face down on the desk, and looked back at my blank document. Write about the me you actually know. Taking a deep, shaky breath, my fingers finally began to fly across the keyboard. I didn't write a superficial, generic piece about a wealthy star donating money for publicity. Instead, I wrote about a boy who had always carried a quiet, fierce warmth behind his smirk. Someone who did kind things not for the applause, but because he genuinely cared, even if he hid it behind layers of playful arrogance. By the time I hit send on the draft to Manager Kim, the sun was just beginning to peek through my window blinds. 2 days later, the article was published. It took the internet by storm. Fans and netizens weren't just praising his donation, they were deeply touched by the sincerity of the writing. Commenters noted that the article felt real, capturing a side of Myung Jaehyun that no other journalist had ever managed to reach. My phone buzzed on my office desk. I picked it up, expecting my chief editor to praise the high view count. Instead, it was a call from his old number. I slipped out of the noisy newsroom and took the call in the quiet emergency stairwell. Pressing the phone to my ear, I didn't say a word. I read it. Jaehyun's voice came through the receiver, quiet and unusually soft. The background noise of his busy schedule was gone. It sounded like he was entirely alone. You really do know me better than anyone, journalist Choi. I just wrote the truth. Jaehyun, I whispered, leaning my head against the cold concrete wall. I told you, I document the facts. A soft, genuine chuckle vibrated through the line. Then, here's another fact for your notes. I'm free this Sunday. No managers, no cameras, just me. There was a long pause, the unspoken weight of our shared past hanging heavily in the air between us. We couldn't go back to high school, and his life as an idol would always be complicated. But as I listened to the steady sound of his breathing on the other end, I realized I didn't want to run away anymore. Where? I asked quietly. I could practically hear the warm, breathtaking smile on his face. The old park, near our high school, 5 o'clock. Don't keep me waiting this time, YN. I won't, I replied. As I hung up the phone, a genuine smile touched my lips for the first time in years. The story of the journalist and the idol was going to be complicated, and it was going to be hard, but for the first time, we were finally ready to write the next chapter together.